It's muscadine season here in Louisiana, beginning in August. So we're out here at the Hill Farm and LSU campus taking a look at the beautiful muscadine production they've got going on. What they've got is muscadines in containers set on an irrigation system. Growing fruit in containers gives you a lot of freedom to grow up and out of the soil and control what you're doing. And a lot of homeowners want to grow muscadines, aren't necessarily looking to grow in containers, but commonly in the ground. If you've got a decently well-drained, fertile soil, then you can grow muscadines. As a homeowner, common questions include, how and when do I propagate muscadines? Well, now is not the time to be propagating. When you see a plant in fruit, it's putting a lot of effort out in that fruit, and that's not when you want to grow it. We plant muscadines in late fall or early winter, anytime from around November through January or February. A common way to propagate them is to simply take a cutting. We usually prune muscadines in winter, and when you do, you're going to have all these vines that you've cut off of them. Take about an 8 to 10 inch piece, and it's not going to have any leaves on it, so be careful and keep track of which side is up, and put the distal end, the further end from the plant, going up, and stick it into a pot. Besides propagating on your own, obviously you can also buy muscadines at local nurseries. They're available usually starting in early spring, which is a pretty good time to plant muscadines, and local nurseries will usually have a good selection of varieties. Once you've established your muscadines, you want to get them close to some wires that you've set up and run them on a cordon system. Go in and select some of your stronger arms. You can do 2 or 4 main branches or arms coming out. We've got these on 4. It's sometimes suggested 1, and I'm not sure if that's any more than just a matter of opinion or preference. But work those out and get them to start going pretty long. You want these posts 20 feet apart. That's about how wide your vines will spread. And every spring, you'll come back and do a lot of pruning on them. Another major pest that everybody has to deal with is birds. They're native here. The birds have grown up around these things. They know exactly what to expect, and they know when they're ripe. There are a number of methods you can try to work against birds. What we've got here is some shiny, flashy looking paper that we've hung throughout this little orchard here. That's hopefully a bird deterrent. They don't seem to attack them too bad. Another good way to do it is if you can cover them with bird netting. They sell this stuff at nurseries and big box stores. Muscadines do indeed have a bit of a musky flavor to them, and that either turns people onto them or turns people off of them, depending on your opinion. But there is undoubtedly a tougher skin than with a regular bunch grape. There are lots of different varieties of muscadines. Pick your preference. Some like purple, some like gold. Purple and gold, of course, always go really well together. And then the next question is, what do I do with all these muscadines once I've picked them?
The most popular ways to use muscadines in Louisiana is with wine and jelly making. So today we're going to make some jelly. So we're going to start with a powdered store-bought pectin, which you always want to make sure you read your instructions. There are instructions on how to make different types of jelly, but also food safety things as well, so pay attention to those. We've got 5 cups of muscadine juice, or what we also call jelly stock. We're going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. And another little trick that we have to cut down on the foam is a ½ teaspoon of margarine. Just going to let this come to a rolling boil. We're going to add our sugar in all at once. When it's at a rolling boil that you cannot stir down, we're going to stir and let it continue to do that rolling boil for 1 minute and 10 seconds. And put our wax paper on top. Kind of push it down a little bit so we can grab that foam from the edges and in the middle. And you're just going to take it, peel it back. Try to reserve all the foam you can. We're going to fill our jars to about 1/4 inch from the rim of the jar. Some neat little tools that help you to gauge that you can use. We've got our lid simmering in a pot. The reason why we're doing this is the sealing ring here on the lid. It softens it up a little better and it makes it seal better. Before we put the lids on, what I always do is I take a clean towel and I dip it in the water there. And you want to clean the rims of your jars. Most of the time, if your jars do not seal properly, it's because the rims of the jars were not clean. And you're going to put your rings on, and you don't want to put them too tight. Just make sure they thread, but don't get them really, really tight. Your water bath canner is what you're going to process your jelly in for 10 minutes to ensure that you get a good seal, and also to prevent bacteria growth. If you don't process your jelly, that's where you're going to get mold growth, and it's not going to be good to stay on the shelf and be shelf stable. Our jelly making process is complete, and with our recipe you usually yield about 8 half pints of jelly. With this standardized recipe from the LSU AgCenter, make sure you're using standardized recipes and following the instructions exactly as you should, and always process your jelly in the water bath canner.